In this video, we're going to be breaking down exactly how you can pixelate both entire images and particular areas of an image in Adobe Photoshop. Great, so welcome back to my design class and another Photoshop tutorial. What we're going to do is dive right in and see how we can actually convert this image into a pixelated image. So as you can see, I've currently got an image already open in Photoshop, and hopefully you've also got one open too, so you can follow along with the tutorial. So what we're going to do to start off with is just convert our image to a smart object. And now the reason why we always convert it to a smart object before actually pixelating our image is that we can always go back and undo our changes if we're unhappy with them in the future. So in order to change this image to a smart object, as you can see, it's currently a rasterized layer and made up of loads of pixels. So we're going to change this by going to our layers panel, finding the layer that we want to change, right clicking, and then going to convert to smart object. And as you can see, it might take Photoshop a few seconds depending on how many layers you're trying to convert into a smart object. But as you can see, it's now succeeded in creating a smart object because our thumbnail has now changed. So what we're going to do is next pixelate our image. So in order to do that, what we can do is go to filter at the top and then go to pixelate and then go to mosaic. And now as you can see in the background, it already gives us a preview of what our pixelated image is going to look like. So we have a few options here. As you can see, my cursor's changed to a box, and wherever I select on my image is going to change the preview in this mosaic panel. Now, if you can't see the preview on the image itself, all you have to do is tick this preview option and make sure there's a tick next to it. If you want to be able to switch back to see what you're actually changing, you can always undo that there too. And as you can see, the only factor that we can actually change with the mosaic filter is the cell size. And the cells obviously refer to the boxes or the pixels that we are now creating. So at the moment it's set to 72. If I reduce that, obviously it's going to become much less pixelated. And if I increase it, the pixels are going to become bigger and there will be fewer of them in our image. So you can set this to wherever you want. For this demo, I'll probably leave it slightly lower just so we still have some clarity in some of the image, maybe about 44. And as you can see, all we had to do is press OK, and now we've pixelated our image. Now, in order to pixelate certain areas of our image, what we do is we use masks. So what I'm going to do is actually quickly delete that filter. So as you can see, we've created a smart filter, and this is because we're using a smart object layer. Now, what I was referring to earlier with smart objects and how they are so useful is, as you can see, we have an eye icon here next to it where we can actually hide the effect if we do not want to use it. Furthermore, if we want to go back and actually change the mosaic pattern itself, if I just quickly unhide that and then press on the mosaic text, as you can see, it brings up the exact same box again, and we can actually go ahead and make any alterations. So this all wouldn't be possible if we didn't use a smart object. So I'm just going to quickly delete this filter just by dragging it to the trash can at the bottom. And as you can see, it's now removed it from my smart object. So in this demonstration, what I'm going to do is actually blur out the castle alone and leave the background still unpixelated. So in order to do this, what I have to do is create a selection of my castle. Now there's a few tools I can use for this, but because it doesn't fit a very regular shape, I probably won't be using the Marquee Tool. Instead, what I'm going to do is use the Polygonal Lasso Tool. So as you can see, the Lasso Tool is just underneath the Marquee Tool on the left-hand toolbar, and it's the second option under the Lasso Tool itself. And the shortcut to the Polygonal Lasso Tool is L. That's for both Windows and Mac, by the way. So next, all I have to do is create several points around my castle in order to draw a small selection. So I'm going to leave it slightly rough for this example, but you can be more precise if you want to. And as you can see, all I have to do now in order to complete my selection is go back to the original points. And as you can see on my cursor, there's a small circle in the bottom right-hand corner. This indicates I can complete my selection. So I can just press once. And as you can see, I've now created a selection. So with the selection made, all I have to do once again is make sure that I'm on the correct layer first, and then go to filter, pixelate, and then once again, mosaic. And now as you can see, it's only applying it to this area of my selection. So as you can see, I can once again change the cell size if I want it to be much more pixelated, or decrease it if I want it to be slightly recognizable. So something like that would obviously pixelate that area very handily. As you can see, the border between the pixelated and the non-pixelated area is slightly rough. What you could do to counter this is actually apply a feather to your selection beforehand. So in order to do that, when you're on any selection tool, so the Marquee Selection Tool, the Lasso Tool, or the Polygonal Lasso Tool, or any other selection for that matter, at the top of Photoshop, there's an option that says feather. And the higher the number that you apply, the less clear the boundary will be between at the edges of your selection. And obviously the ability to apply pixelation only to certain areas in your image is very handy if, for example, you have to blur out several subjects in your images. So those were the fundamentals of how to pixelate your images in Photoshop, both the entire image and only certain areas of your image. If you're interested in how you can actually save your images as JPEGs, then do watch the video in the top right hand corner of the end screen. Hopefully that will be useful to you. And also remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed the content and to subscribe to the channel to make sure you never miss a new Photoshop tutorial.